this basketball season is, well, we kind of knew, but it's shaping up to be an incredible finish because we have no idea who is going to do what. Including some of the stuff we just talked about, how that's going to affect things. But I don't know how good Houston really is. They've, if you look at metrics, if you care about metrics, they have played a grand total of 5 quad 1 games.
Right.
Well, Kansas has more quad 1 losses than that. I keep bringing up,
right.
But they've got 16 wins to go along with it. Every game they play is a quad 1 game. So any team from the Big 12, I'm going to take. I'll almost take against Houston because I think they're just more battle tested. I don't know. Houston's still good, but I think not having that test catches up with you when you get to tournament play.
Houston's number one by default because they're playing in a league where they're not going to take the losses that everybody else is going to take, and they may well be the number 1 team in the country. I'm not saying that they're not. I mean, I'm sure they've got Marcus Sasser, who's probably a future pro, and that's the kind of guy you have to win. And Kelvin Sampson, we all know from his track record, is a good coach. And they're going to play defense, and they're going to be a tough team. But, if you're looking at it in terms of a bracket or gambling, I don't think they're a good value play because it's going to be a short price, and I don't really think they're that much better than some of the teams you can get at a better price. That's my view. I think they're in the mix as one of the teams that can win the national championship, but are they a clear favorite who separated themselves from everybody else? No way. I mean, Alabama beat them at Houston, right?
Right.
Yes. And then wasn't it handily?
They were way behind and came back and won in the second half, I think is what happened.
I mean, the NCAA tournament's always – a bit of a crapshoot, but it seems even more so this year. Like I don't even know if you had to put a number on teams that you thought could win it all. What number would you put on? Is it 8 to 10? Like it feels like every year,
for sure,
there's an infinite number on teams that can get to the Final Four, right? Because of matchups, because things that happen. But you never really feel outside of maybe 4 or 5 teams. It feels like I don't know. To me, 8 to 12 would be that number. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll just. Real quick off the top of my head, Houston, UCLA, Alabama, Purdue, Connecticut, that's 5, Kansas 6, Texas 7, Arizona 8, Marquette 9, Baylor 10. I mean, those are probably those would be my top 10. And you could there's some of these other teams that could get hot and do it, but yeah, I'd say 10 to win the national title and another 15 to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, and that's what
it's crazy.
Which makes it fun is all get out, and with the rules of how everyone has to be split. The top 4 pick finishers in, let's say, the Big Ten, they'll be in different regions. Same with the Big 12. So we're going to have a good mix of teams out there. Purdue, I think it would take. Indiana beating Purdue this weekend and winning the Big Ten tournament to remove them from their perch. They're not going lower than a number 2 seed, I don't think, no matter what happens. And I don't think Indiana can get higher than 3.
Right. Indiana, I'd say Indiana's probably going to end up being a 5, and that's. I don't see them beating Purdue this weekend, and then they got to win 2 home games next week, which they should win. But Iowa's always dangerous, even though didn't they lose last night?
Yep. Got beat by Wisconsin.
Right. Iowa's always dangerous because they can score, and then Michigan. We've seen Michigan come into Assembly Hall last year and beat Indiana. So and we've seen Indiana lose on Senior Day before. So Indiana needs to win 2 of the last 3 and finish 12-8 in the Big Ten, and win a game or 2 in the Big Ten tournament. I'm not going to be outrageous and suggest they can win 3 and win the Big Ten tournament because I'm not sure.
I'm not
sure I'm going to live long enough to see that. I've seen them win.
Never happened.
I've seen them win this conference commissioners tournament. I've seen them win the NCAA tournament. I've never seen them win the Big Ten tournament. So until it happens, I'm not sure it's going to happen. It's like the Red Sox in the World Series.
Well, Jim's already calling a Purdue Indiana championship game in the Big Ten tournament, so he's already called his shot.
They're going to be in opposite brackets.
Well, That's the thing. Right now they would be, because they just have to finish in that 2-3 slot. You know, and they're not going to catch. Well, I'm not going to say they're not, but they're most likely not going to catch Northwestern. But they have to stay in front of Illinois. Maryland's there with them, but then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that are just one game behind them. So they've got to take care of business, but they've got 2 home games to finish out the season. So I give Indiana the benefit there.
I mean, they're just finishing up a really hard stretch. I mean, they played 4 out of 5 games on the road, and you know, none of them were we talked about this before, but they've had either the hardest or the second hardest Big Ten schedule, because they've only played single plays against most of the teams at the bottom, right? Minnesota, Ohio State, Nebraska, Penn State, Wisconsin. Those are the 5 worst teams in the league, and they played them all once.
Well, Purdue, the lower 5 teams in the Big Ten, Purdue drew to play double. They got to play them twice, 4 out of the 5. Right. Indiana played 4 out of the 5 one time. That makes it makes a huge difference.
It does.
In what you're doing. And I'm looking at Maryland. They have to finish the season against Northwestern.
Where's the game? It's in College Park, though. They haven't lost at home in the conference.
Damn. Yep, they're going to win that one probably.
And then at Ohio State, that's a win.
Which is nothing.
And at Penn State, so
it's very possible.
12-8. At the worst, they're going to be 12-8.
And that gives them the tiebreaker over Indiana, though, which would potentially put Indiana in the 4th slot, which would be the same side as Purdue, unfortunately.
Yep. Well,
so that doesn't work out.
You know, you make your own luck over the season. Indiana only has itself to blame for not beating Northwestern one time and blowing that game at Iowa early in the year.